it's Ashley Jackson at Hello Idaho, and we are live today with MaKenzie Tiegs. I am so excited. MaKenzie is a local Boise podcaster, and let me tell you, that market is intense. So, without any further ado, MaKenzie,
hi,
welcome.
I'm so excited for this.
I'm so excited too. So you told me that you podcast because you're so committed to helping people understand that they can tell their stories and that people can learn from their stories.
Absolutely. I think one of my biggest strives in life is learning from other people's experiences. And sometimes you don't have to, go through what they went through, but you can gain that knowledge to your life and grow from that. So Raw Thoughts podcast, I bring on individuals and we interview them. We, as in I, interview them and just talk about who they are, what their life is like, and allow them the ability to showcase their story, whatever their story is. I just have such a love for humans in their most raw situations and raw.
Where did that come from?
It actually came from a song after. So Raw Thoughts is actually I believe I don't know if it's a actual music title or band. I can't remember exactly. Anyways, but I was going through a really bad breakup actually, and I got sent that, and I was kind of thinking about doing a podcast. And I was like, you know what? I really just want to talk with people and hear what they have to say. Mm-hmm. And that's what I do. That's what I do. So before I got into real estate, before I got into podcasting, I was actually a paramedic.
Oh, wow.
So I have been, to people's worst days of their lives. And I didn't want that to be kind of my story. Being around the bottom 10% of society is very draining, and there was more, and I wanted to chase more. And psychology's always been, I graduated from BSU with my psychology degree. Just humans have always been my passion. And so that's kind of where the strive came from. And why else? Why not call it Raw Thoughts? Because that's exactly what it is.
You're right.
It's all of these random thoughts that we have that are raw.
Right. We go through life and we experience emotional thoughts every day. We're not logical human beings. We're emotional human beings.
Very
emotional. I noticed that as you interview people and you allow them to tell their story, people are touched and their lives are changed. Do you have any specific stories or thoughts on one that stands out to you that's really significant?
I think it's just the amount of people that I've now been able to see in the community that I had no idea actually listened to the podcast.
Give me a good example.
So I was actually at a event recently. Somebody I had known, he's actually a local police officer. He's known me, since I was like 13. I'm going on 30. And, we had... I was like, oh, it's so great to see you, catching up on life. And he's like, yeah, I know what's going on. You have a podcast. And I was like, wait, what? You know this, And so it's those little things that people will send me or say, hey, I'm listening. Or my dad is honestly my biggest supporter after every single episode. And he's one of those people that, he is up at 6:00 in the morning listening to it, always gives me a review afterwards. And he's always been very supportive of me, but the podcast is I've never seen his love for what I do. And he's like, I don't care what you do. Don't ever stop that because you're making a difference. And, he's my dad by choice. He's actually my stepdad, but I've always called him my dad. Just kind of a strange situation, but just his love and support and showing that, and he's such a good human, is okay, I'm doing this for a good reason. I don't know exactly why yet, but that's the fun of it. You just got to start it. You just got to jump off the ledge and and go for it in a positive way.
Yeah, that's so fun. And that's something that we were talking about earlier before we were on here. How fun would it be to inspire women and men, but young women and men to start a podcast now?
Yeah.
I think that the art of communication and figuring out how to have a healthy environment, number one, for communication, but to foster that environment, to teach people that is really where we're headed. That's what our state needs and our country needs.
I think it's what us humans need too, is, that human interaction has been so taken out by social media, by, not having these, events, even before COVID hit, all of that stuff that happened. Like, people want to be able to make a connection. People want to help other people. But what that looks like per each person, completely different. The way that I want to help people versus the way that you want to help people, drastically different. But that's our strive in life as humans, is wanting to help.
Yeah, your unique talent. So we were talking earlier also about, hey, we have similar podcasts going on, right? We're interviewing people. And I said, yeah, there's just some stories that aren't appropriate for Hello Idaho, and they go to the Raw Thoughts podcast. And there's some stories that probably are appropriate for Hello Idaho, because the Raw Thoughts podcast is our starting point, right? And that's called collaboration. That's community. That's helping each other. That's being okay to feel confident, right? But we have to build confidence. Confidence is a learned skill. Leadership is a learned skill. And so it would be really interesting in the future to empower a group of women here to start their own podcasts and see how that goes.
Yeah. I mean, because everybody wants to, everybody has something unique to give. Mm-hmm. And like, whether that be a business, whether that be, very specific, I hate the word niche, but like there's very specific niches within who you want to kind of build that community with. I'm just taking a broader sense to all of that and saying, I'm welcoming all of you to tell your story. Yeah. I don't care if you're, I've had people on the podcast from local lenders to, photographers that have had, infertility struggles, that have adopted. There's, a manager of a car wash. Like, there's such a vast variety in that. And that's what I love about it.
That's what true journalism is to me, is reporting on all the people, right? I touched my podcast microphone. That was interesting. I happen to be running for governor right now.
Yeah,
and
you are.
I'm talking to the people every single day, and that's the biggest necessity. Like, they're screaming for someone who's just willing to talk to everyone and and I'm running to be the governor of everyone.
Yeah.
Right. So being inclusive feels like providing space for people to have that platform. So good job, you.
Yeah.
Congratulations on having it. How many episodes do you have out?
So right now we have 12 episodes. We've got 13 and 14 already recorded. And we're still...
What's been the hardest part?
Balancing my real work and my podcast. Work? So I actually sell real estate in the local Treasure Valley. So if anybody's looking for a home to buy or sell, definitely reach out.
What's it called?
I work on a team right now of 2-8 Market. So I work underneath of Keller Williams, but you're always more than welcome to reach out to me on my Instagram, MaKenzie Tiegs _real estate. And I think that, is a part where I don't care what your label is. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care. Like, I want to get you into what you want, You want
to help people find the perfect house.
I want to help people find the perfect house. And I take myself out of it. Just because I wouldn't or I would live in this house, that doesn't matter. It's not my life. It's not my lifestyle. If you want that, I'm going to help you find it. And I think in selling, a lot of people get that skewed.
How long have you been doing that?
It will be 2 years that I've had my license in July.
You're right. A lot of people do get that skewed, right? They go in and they're worried about their money and they're worried about this and that. And I've seen a lot of scary stories actually on Instagram. Ashley Kaiser, she's going to be on too. It's fun, and she has some horror stories.
Yeah.
And so I've seen how the leadership example is just really poor. And so good job you for going out there and being a leader. How long have you been doing it? 2 years?
2 years.
2 years. So you started in 2020?
Yes.
Before the
right. Okay, so I was going through my real estate school, and then the day I went to go test actually is when everything shut down.
March 13th or something.
Yeah.
Holy Hannah.
Yep. So I had done it, but what had actually drove me into the real estate was like I mentioned, I was a paramedic. We did, the county that I worked for actually did a transition of being paid by the hospital versus it went underneath of the county. With just doing that switch, it was a $20,000 pay cut.
Wow.
And I loved my job. It was amazing. It's one of those, things that you're giving back. You're helping with something greater than who you are. I always tell people too in real estate, like I've walked through the bottom 10% of society's homes, and I've also walked through the top 10% of society's
Even
homes.
on Simplot Hill and behind the hill.
And that's, I think it's a perception and a mindset of I'm a chameleon. I can do it. It's adapting it's adapting to who I'm working with, and what they want. And, so working as a paramedic, like I said, I absolutely loved it. It was hard. It was emotional, but my strive has always been mental health. Really getting out there and talking about, yes, I do suffer from depression and anxiety. I am very vocal about a lot of things in life, and somehow can connect with people to that deeper aspect and ask those questions that nobody wants to ask.
Raw thoughts.
It is raw thoughts. Yeah.
Even saying it makes people go,
yeah.
They panic because it's just not acceptable. And that's tragic, right? Right now we need to be able to find a place where it's healthy to say, hey, you can ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. We need a mental health check inside of our hospitals. They need to not be able to call law enforcement and have that be a burden. It needs to be the forefront of the conversations around the kitchen table. And if you're not feeling well, that you can ask for help.
Yeah. And it's a prevention thing, right? Like there's a time and a place. Absolutely. Like if you or somebody that is having suicidal thoughts, is, planning.
You call the cops.
You call the cops.
Yeah,
absolutely. But there's.
Why does it have to get that far?
Why does it have to get that far? Where's our prevention? Where's our discussion about it?
Proactive.
It's when somebody's gotten to that situation, we've missed a lot of steps before that.
Yeah. And so where do you see it? Where do we start?
I think for me personally, it's talking about it.
Yeah.
It's being that voice of the unheard population, and letting people know that, it can happen to anybody. It doesn't care what you look like. It doesn't care if you're female or male. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. Mental health, I think people forget. We have a brain, we have a heart, we have a mind, we have a soul.
These are 4 different words.
4 different words within all of that. And who's to say that all of those things, something can't happen, some variable in life can't switch that chemically, traumatically within that.
Right. We're run on chemicals, right? Dopamine.
All your endorphins.
Right?
You have, all of this. You
serotonin.
You have your brain pathways.
Right.
Cortisol. Your brain can change and is malleable in the situation. It's a survival skill too. Mm-hmm. The amount of, brain pathways that get built and destroyed over a situation, it's not like it wants to do that, but it happens. Mm-hmm. And I think for me, it's what I want to do is talk about it more, make it an okay conversation to have. It's okay to bring these things up.
And the stigma, no more taboo.
No more taboo. I hate labels. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if that doesn't matter.
No more fear and guilt and shame. End of fear and guilt and shame. Abolish the fear and guilt and shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your taxes. But yeah.
So that's, that's my part, collaborating with other people on what do we do, how do we get more resources?
Community programs and parents aware, parents having that conversation with their children, right? That's a hard one. That and sex education, right, are probably the 2 top hardest conversations as a parent, right? How do you talk about those things? And do you have kids?
I don't.
No kids.
I have lots of nieces and nephews, and hard conversations, and
for sure.
But I think it's that, and I know, no shame to my family, but we didn't talk about that. Right. I mean, I didn't know until I had a situation where I was like, I need to be on something. This is a real situation, where then I found out my sisters had been, on medication.
Because you weren't feeling well.
I know it was not good.
Yeah.
But I knew with as much resources that I had, been around within being a paramedic, what I needed to do.
So you had good leaders that had taught you, like in a situation where you need help, you just ask for help. So
Yeah.
you were able to ask for help.
I was able to ask for help. We got it situated. And, you talked about there was good leaders in there. There actually wasn't good leaders in there. And that's where I felt that I could step up and I needed to step up.
So here we are. Yeah. This is a powerful way to be a leader, to bring all that experience to the table.
Yeah.
So if people want to be on your podcast, how do they reach you?
So they can reach me on Instagram at rawthoughts.podcast.
RAW.
RAW thoughts, OUGHTS. That's a lot to say right there.
It's good though, because I've got to spell it out. Who knows how the world spells things these days?
Yeah. So you can reach me on Instagram. My email is m.rawthoughts@gmail.com. You're more than welcome to reach me there. SB Studios is where I record. If there's anything, you can always reach me. You can put my, phone number in there, wherever else, the world takes you to find me.
Yeah.
Reach
thanks
out.
for coming on the Hello Idaho podcast
Yeah.
today. I am so grateful and so excited to watch your journey unfold. We will all keep up with you. So
Yes.
if you want to watch MaKenzie and keep up with her, please go to her podcast. I will see you again next time. Thanks for joining me on Hello Idaho. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Hello Idaho. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe so you can see the next one. The episode has also been sponsored by cowboyoutlets.com, where you can get all of your Western wear needs, especially those boots you've been looking for, at a great deal.